La 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 la. Okay. Hey kiddos. This is a video that I have been kind of arguing with myself about making for a long time. I feel now that I kind of have the emotional maturity and the distance in order to make it and make it right. So, kind of as one last thing for me to put out before I dip for good, for college and stuff like that, I really want to make a video for anyone watching, kind of just like a message who may be between the ages of like 12 and 16 and are very active online like I was at that age, giving them a warning to watch closely the communities that you're engaging with, the people that you're engaging with, and how they're treating you and what motives that they might have that might not see your eye because you're young. This is probably going to be pretty long, so if you're familiar with me and you used to watch me, then you can stick around. But if you're kind of like, oh, wait, is this the fat kid who ate like a pepper like 7 years ago? Yes, I am that fat kid, and I know it's funny. Thank you. You have no reason to be here. You're not gonna find anything entertaining. That's for damn sure. This is kind of going to be like a podcast episode, but not as pretentious, and very much me just talking about something that I need to get out. I'm starting a new chapter in my life. I need to leave all this stuff behind. If I can stop at least one kid from making the mistakes that I did, that is all I want. Oh, shit, that's too sweet. So, I don't want my own personal experiences and opinions that I'm going to be stating in this video to hurt or demonize people that had kind of found themselves in the communities online that I will be talking about and in real life. And I also want to say that there are still people that I like and I've maintained healthy and not creepy relationships with from the online spaces that I will be talking about, and I don't want them to feel as if I'm attacking them. What I want this to be is ultimately a warning for collective communities of adults or of adult content that include and attract children and young teenagers. How to deal with them, how to kind of scope them out, and to realize that places that you might think are completely innocent and fun and just about having a good time, like I did with the furry community back in 2017, ultimately not realizing that it is about sex or it is about adult content, and it harnesses a great possibility that you will be groomed if you choose to interact with them. So, when I was 13, which is mostly what's going to be my age when I talk about this stuff, I was what TikTok considers now to be chronically online. And I came from a group of Minecraft players. The reason why I bought a computer in the first place is because I wanted to play Minecraft. And if you have a microphone and if you have an internet connection and headphones, which is like 95% of the US population at this point, then you're probably going to meet somebody. Around that time, I think, just by proxy of being a teenager and also the fact that I was coming to grips with the fact that I was gay, I had a lot of feelings of isolation and kind of like being different. And the space that I was surrounding myself in was very edgy, like super homophobic jokes, racist jokes, just kind of like N-words being thrown around like it was fucking candy. Like it literally was so not the space that can be created now. At least I would hope not. And through somebody that I knew at the time, I kind of found the whole entire idea of the furry fandom super intriguing, because it seemed like everybody was accepted. It was like, you don't have to be a certain way to get in. You don't have to adhere by some certain rule in order to not be made fun of. It's like, listen, we're a group of people who go out in public in animal costumes. If you want to worry about being embarrassed, you're not going to be here. I really was not super into the whole entire dressing up, because I was socially anxious at the time, and that was on the bottom of my list of things to do. But there were people there that seemed like they were so friendly and so nice. I was immediately kind of attracted to that kind of happiness and acceptance. And then after not too long, it became apparent quickly that it really didn't matter what age you were. If you were a 13-year-old and you wanted to create a fursona, then boom, motherfucker, you're in. If you're 50 years old and your wife divorced you and you just want to like experiment with whatever the hell, damn man, if you just draw yourself a little cartoon character and name it as yourself, then you gotta pass. So it was that kind of broad over acceptance that would literally and physically put these two opposites that really should not be together in most social circumstances. It kind of brought together this group of like outcasted 13-year-olds and disenfranchised older people, adults, and just kind of plopped them right in with each other, and didn't really discriminate between the two of them, because there was no discrimination. And I know that that's the case for most, if not all, spaces online. And so that's why I'm becoming so worried when I work at a restaurant, right? And the amount of like 3-year-olds that I see on iPads, like the parents just give them the iPad and they just look at it, just scrolling through, and they don't really even realize what they're looking at. But it's like, there's so much that one can see when they're that young on the internet that you're really not supposed to see. A particular case with the furry community that kind of excited me as a 13-year-old kid was the older kids, which when I say kids, I mean like 19 to like 26. They would not bat an eye when I would be honest about my age. They would still kind of engage in conversation that was inherently sexual, had innuendo, and had sensual topics, knowing that I was in the presence of those conversations. And there was really nothing done about it. And I could see the meshing of those age differences that was really not pointed out or talked about at all. I had two online friends from that community. And one of them was 16, 17, lying about their age, dating a 30-year-old man. It still baffles me how no one can see this is obviously an example of someone being taken advantage of. And at that time, of course, being so young, you kind of think to yourself, oh, this is how the older kids talk. This is how older people act. This is the adult way to act. But now, when I'm now in their situation and I'm now at their age, it's like the only thing that I can imagine myself talking to a 13-year-old about is algebra class and Fortnite. Like, it's never a thing that would naturally come into somebody of that age's mind to talk about sexual things with somebody that young. And I think the problem is that when it doesn't go acknowledged, and when it's being taken further and further, that's when things happen. That's when people get hurt. Everyone handles situations very differently, where literally just a 13-year-old hearing two 20-year-olds talk about sex and seeing like furry porn that young could be a genuine cause for emotional stress and anxiety and depression. But in worst cases, it almost always goes to a case of grooming, to a case of, in my case, really retrospectively uncomfortable and creepy friendships with adults that were 6-7 years older than me, twice my age. A lot of emotional manipulation, and ultimately a case of sexual assault. It's really dangerous for a group of majority adults who congregate in any group, no matter what the subject matter is, when there is inherently a part about it that includes sex and sexual things, to disguise it as something that is not inherently sexual causes a lot of damage to the people who don't want to engage in something that is anything sensual or anything that has to do with sex. Because a 13-year-old who likes Disney animations should not go into a community thinking that that's going to be only what they're going to be talking about and celebrating, and then see people walking around in harness suits when they go to their nearest convention or whatever. And what really pisses me off is there are people who put the onus on the child to understand that there is some sort of innuendo to all of it. It's like, well, of course it's a sex thing. Like, are you stupid? No. They're a fucking kid. My experience was I just wanted to feel accepted when I was struggling with my sexuality. And a huge portion of the community was LGBTQ. So, would there be a better place that I could have chosen? Yes. But it was the place that I chose because I knew somebody who was in that group. And he told me about how accepting and how nice it was. And I think that it is no coincidence that that same person was the person who sexually assaulted me. Now the internet is becoming increasingly more and more of a place where you can see anything and you can be witness to, whether willfully or not, anything that you can think of. LiveLeak is down and LiveLeak doesn't exist anymore, but shit, man, you can see that same stuff on Twitter. It just goes to show that the internet is still very much a new thing. Group mentalities and group communities online are still a very new thing. They're just legit 15 years old at most. There needs to be space, obviously, inherently, for there to be improvement and for there to be conversations that are difficult. Yes, this is not an easy conversation, but it's one that needs to be had. Because if not, then people are going to get hurt. Kids are going to get hurt. To me, it looks like you're walking down the street and you're a 13, 14-year-old who loves cartoons, you see a stuffed animal shop, right? And you walk in, and it's just a bunch of fucking dragon dildos. That is the best metaphor that I can use for that community. And it's the same thing for so many other places online. And it kind of sucks to have to feel like I have to warn somebody who is my age when I did all of those things. Because the problem is not the kid. The problem is not the person who is looking for acceptance, looking for a place to belong, looking for a place to be seen. Because everybody needs that. No matter who you are, everyone needs that. The ultimate onus should be on the adults and on the supposedly, expectedly mature people who should be like, oh, you know, this place isn't really for that. Go onto Disney.com if you want to see anthropomorphized characters or whatever, or anime or whatever. Go on to Netflix, watch these shows or whatever. Don't go on to 4chan. You know, it's not on the kid to make that decision because you don't think about that when you're that young. Even if you were like me and you thought that you were much smarter than you were. It also pains me because I do know that I still have a lot of friends in that community who were never, ever weird with me and who genuinely had a really good friendship with me. They're genuinely nice people who happen to be in this kind of very complicated community. There is a finite amount of space for love and appreciation and acceptance in the world, and I think especially online. And it sucks to kind of have to be like, this place that you should feel accepted in is kind of a fad. And you have to worry, even in the most seemingly safe communities, the seemingly most accepting communities, you have to worry about your safety. But it is unfortunately true because it has happened to me, and it has happened to a lot of people that I know, and not much conversation is being done about it constructively, where it's like, if you lean too much into it, you get the QAnon Pizzagate who are saying that everyone online who believes this thing or is in this community is a fucking pedophile rapist. But then you have these people on the complete other side who are like, it's not about sex, man. Like, we don't have to be like worrying about this. Like, there's sexual elements to it, yeah, but like there's this. Both of those viewpoints are incredibly dangerous and incredibly hurtful to a lot of people in the past and a lot of people to the future. And it's annoying because if people just had a genuine conversation about it, people would realize that it's not that hard to kind of distinguish these things. And in turn, the acceptance that they hoped would come from it would still be there, but it would be a safe acceptance for everyone. I just want that kid, that 12, 13-year-old kid, or 14, 15, 16, 17, no matter how old, if you are susceptible to being taken advantage of and you want to find somewhere where you can feel appreciated and seen, then I say you should just look around you. You should try talking to those kids that you don't really talk to a lot in school. You should immerse yourself into something that you love. I immerse myself in music. I started hanging out with a group of friends that are now huge. If you love sports, start really focusing on that sport. If you love reading, start learning how to write. Start doing things that really mean a lot to you. I think what I needed to know at that age was there was a place for me to be accepted and loved and cared for and seen. And it did not have to be in that community. Probably didn't have to be through a screen. It was really right in front of me. It just took me a little while to notice it. In the description, I'm going to have a lot of resources for victims of sexual assault, and all those sorts of terrible things, and people that you can talk to. If you were like me and you were struggling with your sexuality, just know that there are, it might be different in the South, but like in most major cities, there are groups that join together, youth groups, general groups that meet together and talk about their frustrations and talk about oppression and all of that. If you listen to me, I want to thank you. If you used to watch me playing Minecraft, then watch this, first off, I know it was like whiplash, but thank you for being here this entire time. I started this channel like 8 years ago, and not to make this all about me, but I'm going to a great college. I have tattoos. I have a really good group of friends who I all love. I have a boyfriend who I absolutely adore. I'm making an album. I'm finishing making a documentary. And Minecraft 20 Year Survival. Done. Don't need it no more. So yeah, if you used to watch me and you care about me somewhat, or if you don't like me but you still watch this entire video for some reason, I want you to know that I am doing just fucking fine, and I'm not going anywhere. Thank you.